Those are the figures that we are getting from the polling or the collation center in the Assin North constituency. My name is Omar Sandamadu. I'm doing the analysis tonight with two persons who have been following keenly the processes in Assin North and followed elections in Ghana generally. To my extreme right, or extreme left, I have Musa Dankwa of the Global Info Analytics. Musa, you're welcome back.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
It's good. Bernard Avle is my co-host on the Situation Room and also host of Point of View. It's around the time you would have been on TV tomorrow.
Yeah.
And also the time you were on TV last night. How is the day going?
Wow, it's been a great day. I'm excited that we are still here talking. We brought the Situation Room.
Yeah, in the night.
Onto face to face. So we are face to face in the Situation Room.
That is very true. That's wonderful. Very true. So let's look at the numbers quickly. And Musa, I'm going to start with you. You did the polls, which is something that's not very common because a lot of people may not share the information with you. They want to keep the information. And we saw that happening in the polls that you conducted. I had a conversation with you on Eyewitness News. Bernard has spoken to you on the Point of View. For people who keep asking, Musa Dankwa did the research, it showed that NPP was going to win by 1.1%, but you gave a margin and also gave us people who said they were not decided. Clarify the matters for us on this table tonight. What did you seek to do, and what does this official result mean to the work you did?
All right, Umaru, when we report opinion poll, the headline numbers, it shows just what the voters have told us. We just aggregate their views and present them as they are. They are the headline poll numbers. And in the headline poll numbers, we said that James Gichikwesin was on 45.6%. Charles Opoku was on 46.7%, meaning he was leading by just 29 votes or 1.1%. Was the number that divides them.
29 votes?
29 votes, actually. And then we said that there were 6.9% of voters who said they were undecided. And we said that a number of things could happen. Depending on where the people who said they were not decided decide to go on the voting day, it could tilt the race either way, assuming the headline poll numbers were accurate. But again, we also pointed out that we suspected some kind of lack of candidateness on the part of voters. We identified that, and we said those could be sources of error which could have given somebody more than what he actually gets. And what we have said is that there were certain indicators in the data that gave us that hint. One was the people who said they will collect bribe and vote for the candidate. That number was 78%. If that number was true, then Charles Opoku should have been leading in the poll, but he wasn't. Then again, we asked people whether the work the MPP was doing there would influence their vote. 70% said no. So we knew something is not right. But you couldn't go into somebody's head and say, oh, this is what we think he's saying. So we have to report the numbers as they are. But in the analysis, for example, when Ben pushed me to the wall, knowing what I knew, I said that even though Charles was leading, I expect James Gichikwesin to win.
So even though your poll suggested that Charles was leading by 1.1, if you interpret the I won't tell you people, you think they are inclined more towards James Gichikwesin. And again, those who said that they could take bribes or they could accept the inducement from whichever party, but they would vote for the candidate. You did all the interpretation. Yes. So your conclusion was that, so strictly speaking, your interpretation was that James Gichikwesin was going to win.
Yes.
And not what it looked like on the face of it.
Absolutely. And also, you remember we've been there for 4 weeks. So we knew where Charles Opoku started from in the race. He was on 57%. Kwesin was on 38%. And we said that from that period till Sunday, Charles has lost almost 18% vote. 18% support. And that trajectory was downwards. And that every blessed day, he was losing 1%. So I said that even as we were speaking yesterday, we believe he has lost one more percentage. This morning, that would continue. Now, the people who were saying, oh, I'm not decided yet, they were coming from Charles. Some were going to James, and some were going to undecided voters. When people leave you to become undecided, they are highly unlikely to come back to you on election day. So we believe that those guys will break away for Jason, and that's what they did. If you look at the numbers, it looks like almost every undecided voter went for James. And James, went for James. And Charles lost 5% of the people who said they were going to vote for him. So 5% were lying.
So if I were to report accurately and to be very fair to you, I would have said you said the race was going to be neck and neck or too close to call.
Yeah.
But this doesn't look too close to call at all. 5,000 vote difference.
On the face of the poll, because you couldn't say anything else by not going through the polling numbers. The polling number says too close to call. But if we knew James was going to get almost everybody in the undecided column, that would have been very clear for us to say, look, he's going to win.
So what does this mean, or what does this say to our polling system in Ghana and the respondents' mindset and their attitude towards polls? Are they dishonest?
No, generally they are honest. But when you have attention focused on one particular place at a point in time, then they feel the pressure. Because everybody in this country was in Assin North. The pressure was there. In fact, we went to Kushia. I was mentioning Kushia since yesterday. That Kushia for me is going to be key in this election. And James Question has led in the opinion poll from Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. An hour before we finished, that was when Charles overtook him by the 1.1%. And that happened in Kushia. And we said that, in fact, I was so scared. I called the officer in Kushia, what have you noticed? And she told me that she felt the guys were lying to her. So I knew the numbers were not correct. But I haven't got any empirical evidence to say that they were lying to us. But I said they could be lying to us. And true, they were lying to us.
So I'm sure there are things you've learned from this poll.
Absolutely.
And moving forward, they'll guide you. Because we should do more of this.
You know, we did a poll. You see, when attention is at a place, the pressure is on. And people tend to play along.
So that could account for what happened. Yes. Let me bring Bernard in. Bernard, before we talk about the hard numbers, let's talk about you as a journalist observing the election from afar. Generally, the issues of vote buying came up, the violence, just a few pockets here and there. So you would say it was an uneventful primaries, if people were comparing to Ayawaso because of the charged nature of the constituency. Even though it's a positive thing, the police deployed heavily. We've seen the accusations and counter-accusations, but generally it's been a peaceful election, so we should be applauding.
No, look, Sandra, thank you. I feel like this election has been an improvement of previous ones. Even the way the police engaged the political parties, the photos you see, General Mosquito, Stephen Intim, and all of those guys, Fifi Quatin and Abi, it's good. It sends the right picture. So even though there were pockets of incidents, the build-up tells you that everybody was prepared to do the right thing. Even the language was not as bad. So that was really good. A lot of media was also there. The interest was there. So that's also great. And so I don't think Kumewu is not the same as Assin North, because Kumewu is one party stronghold. So it's not as competitive. But if you look at how competitive this was built to be and how it's ended without any major incident, I think it's great. For some of the things you hear a lot of people speculate, they send things to you on social media. The police, I think, did a good job, so it's fine. I just wanted to make a quick comment about the polling. You know, when I'm trying to analyze an election, we always do two things. We do the numbers, we also go there. Yesterday, I asked Calvis, he says, I actually asked our correspondent who he thought was going to win. He didn't want to stick his neck out. And I said, if I push you, would you say? He says he thinks the NDC would win. That's what he said. He's not done a poll. So there's always data which gives you a snapshot of what people think at a particular time. This poll was released on the 25th of June. Sorry, yeah. So that's two days for the poll. There were things that, there are things called recency issues, right? And I'm not holding brief. But if you are very technical, a poll is about how you interpret it. So if you ask 10,000 voters out of 40,000, 2 days to an election, who you vote for, and the indication is that it's 50-50. You obviously say it's neck to neck. But 7% said they won't tell you or they don't know. But there's also a trend. And the trend shows that the person who won was actually on the way up. I actually did ask him that if we give ourselves 2 more days, what does this trend show? He says, well, then this guy is going to overtake the MPP guy. So for me, I am not surprised at the outcome at all, because when I pushed both Musa and Calvis, and I said, if we were to bet your last person who was going to win, both of them said NDC was going to win. Because instinctively, when you talk to people, when you go and speak to people, you can feel what they feel. Again, if you look at the message, and then I interviewed the NDC and MPP on the show yesterday. Nimako and what's the name of the guy? Basintale, both said they were going to win. But if you look at the message of the MPP, it was almost like if you vote for this guy, you're going to waste your time. So they knew that he was the main guy leading. And they didn't really market their guy. It's almost like, don't
go for the
so you can always tell who's leading. I even tell them when you're looking at even the MPP flag bearership race, look at the person the opposition is attacking. That's the reality. So if the opposition is attacking, there's some it tells that person is in the lead. So it tells you that the posture of the MPP, they knew that so I don't even think it's even the economy. The impression I get is that people feel there's an injustice. Somebody has won an election. Now 275 constituencies. Why is he the only person? Because the other poll issues, why is the only person you are trying to? And now he's supposed to campaign for by-election. You say you should go to court every day.
Yeah.
Just,
so sympathy.
What are you trying to do? And this guy, you are saying he's not. So, and when you go to a local community, I'll give you an example. When I was in Akwetia, one of the reasons I was able to tell you that NDC was going to win Akwetia was that when I went into the communities, they kept telling me that right, and that's what they kept saying. So even though they said they will vote for Akufo-Addo in Akwetia, they say after Amase, So once somebody tells you, say, and you go to an MPP stronghold in Akwetia, they say, oh, me can't tell, but MPP, the MPP for Akufo-Addo, but parliamentary, me can't tell. You can tell that the NDC guy was going to win.
So the moment they tell you that, you know that they have.
So, and it's the same thing you feel that it's like the president is there, everybody is there. By the way, everybody MPP is there, NDC is there, by the way. Why are you coming here only now that there's a by-election? So all of those will tell you that on the ground, and Charles is also a new face. Right, and the fact that he had to be brought in as an outsider because of his good works, it tells you the MPP was desperate. So when you put all those things together, no serious watcher of our politics will say that they are surprised NDC won. The only surprise is that it was as though it was going to be that close.
But it didn't look. It did not.
He actually did better than 2020.
I'm going to let you look at the trend from 20, but before then, Bernard.
Yeah.
So we are told that Charles had a good foundation in the constituency.
Yeah.
Does it mean that these things don't matter when it comes to issues relating to this specific by-election? Because people would say, the guy won already, let him run, you've removed him, or you've hounded him out of his seat and all of that, so we're going to put him back. So it doesn't matter how good Charles was on the ground.
The way I interpret this is that, and this is very bizarre, I actually think the MPP damaged Charles.
Yes.
In a sense that what we know about Charles Opoku and his work, if this was a normal election, without all the trappings of by-election, they didn't have all these people go there.
It was a normal
It would have probably followed the trend, because if you look at the trend of Assin North, it's been close. When Jachikwesin won in 2020, it was actually very good. He got 54 and the other guy got 40-something. It's been vacillating. So if this was a normal election, it would have been closer. Right? But now he's seen as the face of what incumbent government wants to railroad us into choosing our MP for us. We're not going to agree to that. Ghanaians don't like that.
So the MPP wasted him. They could have.
No, I mean, this is his first approach. By-elections are. I feel like he's got 42% of the vote. This is his first time campaigning. I mean, you should see the pictures of him standing there. He's not even. It doesn't even look like. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see how the articulation is moving the constituency and he's receiving the cheers, you can tell that this guy is new. All right, so
he's a novice in the.
So 42% is not that bad if you look at the circumstance.
Musa, you read the minds of voters. So the presence of the president, the vice president, every minister in this government, every MP is there. I mean, NDC has done the same. But on election day, NDC had more people on the ground. I mean, high-level people. All MPs were there. If you look at Parliament today, the House did not sit because MPs had all deserted and gone to Assin North. But MPP had more MPs in Parliament, including their own majority that was in Parliament. Today, when it came to the NDC side, I think they were like less than 10.
Everybody
the
was
leader
there
was James Agalga. Like, that was the closest they could get to a leader. But when it came to the MPP side, the majority leader was there.
Yeah.
So, do you think voters are swayed by that? Does it matter? And we'll talk about vote by later, but do they concern themselves, oh, Mr. President has come to town, or former President Mahama is here talking to me? Does it matter?
I think in this particular race, for NDC, it mattered. Because they had to win the race.
Okay.
And they had to
Musa, let me cut you. I need to go because this is Citi TV's coverage of the election. The by-election is over. The sorting has been done. The counting has been done at polling station. Ballot boxes have been carried to the collation center. We've just projected for you the results that we have seen so far. But Calvi Sete is a man who's been following the election all day. In fact, even before the election day. Let me just go to him now. He's at the collation center. Calvis, what's happening?
Yes, Sandra, as we speak, James Jachikwesin of the new National Democratic Congress is here with Sami Genki and some party bigwigs of the NDC. They are here to take the final results from the Electoral Commission. They are still in.
Go ahead. So there's a break in transmission there to Calvi Sete. We'll try to re-establish connection with him, but he's at the collation center. I'm just looking at the screen in the studio now, and generally what happens at these places is that the person who is losing or who has lost may most likely not show up.
In fact, you can even tell from the commentary of the party leaders who's winning. So when you start hearing the General Secretary of the MPP say there are people that are not being...
They are being intimidated.
Yes, at the security, it's not there to help. It tells you, you can tell from the body language. So any watcher would know around 6 o'clock that it's tending towards NDC. And then when you see the big wigs of NDC go and MPP people just disappear. So this is just a mere formality that they're going to declare.
So we're going to be waiting for the results as
they officially declare it, but yeah. Sami Jemfi is already speaking to the press.
Yeah, so let's cross over there now and hear what he's saying. Well, so Sami Jemfi is the National Communications Officer of the NDC. He's actually also the campaign coordinator, if not manager, of James Jachikwesin. He's been moving with the candidate of the NDC the whole day, and he is the one who decides to the media whether he should speak or not. Calvi, can you hear me now? Okay, I don't know how Calvi is, but he's going to connect to the National Communications Officer of the NDC. So James Jachikwesin is I don't know.
So we just want to clarify. So has the result been declared officially?
I should think so.
Yeah. So now this is the press conference after the declaration. Wonderful. So they are in the same.
I should think so, but maybe if there was a declaration, they would have poured £1,000.
No, but they have, because Calvis has sent a report that he's secured a landslide win.
Okay, so it means that
has been done. So this is the press conference after the.
So this victory is a product of teamwork. But above all, this victory is a product of hard work. We put everything into it. I virtually relocated here for the past 1 month. Nothing mattered to me than this victory. And I'm happy today that we've seen the fruits of our labor. And so when I say hard work, I'm not just talking about working hard without strategy, because yes, we worked hard, but that hard work was based on a superior strategy, a strategy anchored on continuous research, a strategy anchored on community engagements, a strategy anchored on solving community problems, a strategy anchored on a superior campaign message, a superior campaign communications strategy, and a superior campaign organizational and electoral management strategy. So that is what has given us this victory. But above all, this victory is anchored or has been anchored on a superior candidate. We had a better candidate, a candidate who was already marketable, loved sincerely by the good people of this country. And the electorate are very discerning, very intelligent, very wise, very courageous, and I'm sure you've seen that for yourself today. And they decided to stand by the truth. They decided to stand by justice, and it is their fidelity to the truth and justice that has been.
So, of course, I owe it to them
with the hard work,
and I know they are going to be very committed to the cause of our vision. I stood for justice and development, and I haven't swayed at all. I'm still going to be pursuing the same agenda because that's the mandate that Assin North people have given me. Now, this is a victory not just for myself, it's for the people of Assin North, and in fact for the country Ghana. Hopefully one day we'll pursue a good direction of justice, and also to realize that politics is not about sharing money to citizens and get a vote. It's about development. Democracy itself is about development. And we're going to set this trend along to make sure that people who are represented get a fair share of the national cake and how to develop their communities.
You didn't seem to be perturbed despite all the issues that were thrown at you and even the campaign issues that perhaps when you got the nod, you may be criminalized, go to court and all of that. What was your motivation?
Well, as I said earlier, first and foremost, I believe in the rule of law, and I do things according to the law, right? And also I had the support of my constituent, all the people of Assin North, not just even Assin North, because people alone, my NDC fraternity, then I got people from even the other side of the aisle, which is MPP, who are supporting me. They may not be able to identify themselves openly, but I knew they were I was fairly, very fair, not treated unfairly, that I should say. But as I said earlier, I have to abide by the court's decision. I didn't call for this, they called for it. If they didn't believe what I did, after all, now they all know the results, and we are going to work with it. So I think there's not much I have to say.
Just finally, how did you feel when the president, during that final rally, made comments suggesting that the constituents should not vote for you and that you could be headed to prison? It's been largely described as prejudicial. How did you feel about it?
Well, that's his decision. It's not the people's opinion about this, right? He's free to express his own opinion, as he said. I didn't hear it myself. I was told, and we have just re-emphasized on that. But again, I was a bit disappointed to hear that. And I know he's a lawyer, and the fundamental belief or value of legal system, you're innocent until proven guilty. So for him to say that, I think it's not a qualified statement. But again, the good people of Assin North demonstrated that they have conscience and they believe in me. And I mean, human conscience supersedes every justice system, right? So let's live with that. And I'm not here to play games. I came for purpose. I have a vision that I came with, and the people of Assin North believe in my vision that I expressed to them. As you came around, you all reporters have noticed how underdeveloped this community is. And what the government tried to do to hopefully gain some points in this election, but Assin North people are very, very aware of what is happening. They will not take a road in the middle of a rainy season to change their minds. Obviously, they know better. So I'm still committed to the cause of my work.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Let's have the police.
Well, so James Gyakye has spoken, and he's optimistic that even after winning the elections, he will still be in Parliament. According to him, he has what it takes to lead the constituency. He also lamented that the constituency is underdeveloped, and the fact that the new Patriotic Party came with an agenda to share money is not something we should be proud of.
Calvis, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Great. So we just heard there from James Gyakye. I've seen Fifi Kweti, I've seen Sami Jemfi of the NDC. Who else was at the coalition center?
Well, there is Baba Jamal here. There is the Central Regional Chairman of the National Democratic Congress. Professor Asir is also here. And there's Fifi. There's a member of parliament for. Yes, there is the member of there is Baba Jamal, and then as well as the member of parliament for.
It's all right. So how about on the MPP side? Who are there?
Well, Sandra, on the MPP side, we are not seeing anyone here. For now, there's no MPP member here. From what I learned, some of them are still around. We are hoping that they will come in, and then the Electoral Commission officials will give the final declaration. But for now, there are no MPP members here.
So the Electoral Commission has not formally declared him winner yet?
No, Electoral Commission has not formally declared him winner. They are here waiting for the Electoral Commission to do that declaration.
Do we have NPP
party members are not here?
Do we have their agents at least? Because at the coalition center, usually agents will be there.
Well, they have their agents here, but the top hierarchy of the party is not here.
But all ballot boxes have been brought, all pink sheets from all 99 polling stations have been brought.
Yes, all ballot boxes and pink sheets have been brought here, signed, and so they are with the Electoral Commission, and then we are hoping that in some few minutes they will give the final declaration.
Collations happen at police stations, district assembly offices. Where is this one happening, and what is the outside looking like? Is there a crowd there? Because I've seen that you are inside, but what's happening outside? Which area are you at?
Well, Sandra, there is a huge crowd out there on the streets of Assin Breku. We are in Assin Breku, the district capital of the Assin North. The collation center is just some few meters away from the Assin Breku, where the capital is. There is a huge barricade outside of security personnel are there. So what is happening is that before you get access into the collation center, you are checked. The Electoral Commission officials and then the police have a list of members who are supposed to be in the collation center. So they take your card and then they go through their list. If you are qualified to be in, or if you have the registration to be in, then you are allowed entry into the collation center. Other than that, you will not be allowed here. So most of the party people are outside waiting for the final declaration of the results.
Do we know what is holding the Electoral Commission? Are they still doing final tallying of results, or they're waiting for the NPP to be present before they make the formal declaration?
Well, the Electoral Commission is doing the final tally of the results, and then they are waiting that once they are done with it, in some few minutes, they will declare the results. The new the National Democratic Congress members are seated, just waiting for the Electoral Commission to do the final declaration. We can see in the shot Electoral Commission officials just about to announce the winner of the election, Sandra.
That you take us outside the premise to give us a feel of what's happening. So when you do get there, we'll come back to you and get that. And also we are on standby for you for when the Electoral Commission wants to make that formal declaration. But thank you for now. Calvin Stete, he's our correspondent to the Central Region. Bernard, so The formal declaration has not been done.
Yes, that's correct.
But the NDC, which is claiming victory based on the figures that we have, and if you're just joining us, the figures are in this particular order. NDC having what?
57.5%.
That's 17,000.
17,000 votes.
And then NPP 12,000. So the vote difference of 5,000, roughly.
So NPP 42.15%, NDC 57.56%. So NDC gets 17,245, MPP 12,630, and then Sefenu LPG 87.
Compare these votes with 2020 for me, please.
2020 figures, from off the top of my head, 54% Jati Kwesi.
54%.
Yes.
So now he has 57.
So it's expanded.
3% increase. And in terms of tangible votes,
I don't have the figure.
In fact, tangible vote, MPP lost 1,563.
So MPP lost
1,563.
Okay, let me go back to the Electoral Commission. I think I can see, is it Kwaku?
Yes, Sribo
Kwaku, he's Director of Electoral Service at the Electoral Commission. He's making that announcement. Let's listen to him.
The political parties, the media, the Ghana Police Service, especially the IGP, the staff that work for the Electoral Commission, both permanent and temporary. We wouldn't have been here without the support of all these people. Election is collective responsibility. No matter what the commission does, if our stakeholders do not support us, we will not achieve any good results. That is why I want to thank all of you for your cooperation and support. I also want to take the opportunity to introduce my colleagues who been here to you. And the extreme right is the Deputy Central Regional Director. The next is Ms. Abigail Nzokwankosa, she's in charge of gender affairs at the head office. On my immediate right is Mr. Samuel Welku, he's our Director for HR. I will jump over this. The next the lady is the regional director, Central Region. After her is our director for administration, Mr. Lawrence Sapo. The next, our lawyer Emmanuel Ade. Extreme left is our business officer for Assin North, Christabel. I come back our district officers and other police, the China of the King General James to support us. I will now ask the region director to introduce the return of for the region director to announce the result. I will move as you can help. Come here. You come now. Good evening to you all. Upon a successful conduct of parliamentary by-election held in Assin North today, these are the details of the results. Now, 3 candidates contested. Candidate number 1, in the person of Charles Okoku of the New Patriotic Party, secured 12,630 votes. Candidate number 2, Sefenu Bennett Enyonam of the LPG,
secured 87 votes. Candidate number 3, James secured 17,245. Total valid votes is 29,962. Total rejected votes is 456. Total vote cast 30,418. For candidate number 1, he secured a percentage of 42.15%. Candidate number 2 secured 0.29%. Candidate number 3 had 57.56%. By the power in me vested, now total turnout is 74%, 74.23%. Now please stand the candidate for. By the power in me vested.
Are you the candidate?
Change is coming. Change is coming. Change is coming.
Okay, so just in your shot is James Jachikwesin and the leadership of the National Democratic Congress walking out of the collation center.
Thank you so much, Calvin Setter, reporting for us from the Assin North constituency. So it is all done now. The National Democratic Congress is James Jachikwesin, the candidate that the party sponsored, the candidate who is standing prosecution in a criminal case, the candidate who was elected in 2020, the candidate who was removed from the House of Parliament will return to the House, and Speaker Bagbin may have to swear him in again as the person representing the people of Assin North. There is a criminal case happening. We don't know what's going to happen with that. But while that's going on, he'll be back to Parliament. Mind you, before the elections, he was barred from going to the chamber He was not doing any business relating to Parliament, but he's back, re-elected by the people with a legitimacy that has been confirmed. But the numbers are looking very similar. Some 17,000 people voted for him in 2020.
Yeah.
The same people are voting for him again. What is the trend like?
So it's a similar number. So I think that the key point here is that Jachikwesin maintained the NDC support in terms of the number of votes he got. Very similar, but the percentage was much higher. But Charles Opoku reduced by about 2,000 votes or 1,500 votes. Yeah. So what you can say from this is that the NDC has at least maintained its level of support, and then the potential.
So you can look at the results behind you now.
So the Odrowa, the lady, had more votes than Charles Opoku. So you can say MPP, about 1,500 MPP voters stayed at home. But NDC, they added a little bit more, probably around, I don't know.
17,498 was 2020.
Yes, and now it's 17,245. So it's actually even fewer votes.
So it means it's lower than 2020.
It's a by-election, so you don't expect the turnout to be. So if you have the same number of votes in a by-election, you would say that because in a general election, more people turn out to vote.
But what matters is that he has secured the NDC block, NDC votes.
Yes, and he's increased the percentage by about 2%.
These numbers, do they mean anything to the future of the constituency in terms of 2024? Or you think that Assin North is a constituency that we should consider as a swing constituency where you can never be sure because it keeps flipping?
No, but the elections are won in the swing constituencies. Well, that's where the numbers really are made from. Now, the lessons from here is that even with a better candidate, MPP didn't perform. So if they had put in a worse candidate, it would have been terrible.
It would have been worse.
Yes. So this is a lesson for them, that they should do everything and see who is best to reduce the hemorrhaging, because it's not going to be easy. It's a model they could use going forward to reduce some of the anger, because if they had put in a familiar face, which is a typical party man, I think it would have been worse.
Yeah. So if you're saying that even though Charles Opoku got fewer votes than the previous NPP candidate, in this context, it's actually done better.
Yes.
So if they had put any known NPP face, it would have been worse.
Worse.
So it also means that NPP is facing an atrophy in their support. But NDC could also be asked whether they've increased their own support base, because they would need to garner more support, because it's very similar to his 2020 performance. So is he attracting more swing voters? We don't know.
You know,
it's just one constituency, so we don't want to overanalyze, right?
We would have time to go there one day to do exit poll.
Yes.
Just in Assin North.
Yeah.
Those who voted, what went to their mind, how did they vote, and what influenced them? So I think we'll go back there and do an exit poll.
So, okay, I think that would be very, very important that you do that, so that you see whether the people who told you what they told you the last time, whether this time they finish voting,
they will be free to tell you exactly what they did. Yes.
They'll be free.
Yes.
I want us to also look at 2016, and I'm asking the producers to just put the 2016 results there, because so we've seen 2020, we've seen that he's maintained his votes. He was not a candidate in 2016, was he? James Jachikwesin?
No. He came on the scene in 2020.
Okay, so this is the 2016 results.
Yes, 2016 NPP won 57%. Abuna Drowa. So as I was saying in the previous show, Jachikwesin actually flipped the seat for the NDC.
Look at the raw numbers.
Yeah, 15,000, 10,000. So Jachikwesin got plus 7,000, which is why the NDC was very confident that it's very popular. For somebody to move from NDC from 10K to 17K, and then to have a sense of injustice. So in a by-election where the turnout is usually lower, he manages to still maintain 17,000 votes. So it means that he is very popular now. In fact, it looks like the NPP has made him more popular. They've made him. So I don't even see how he's going to lose 2024.
No, I've said that earlier.
He's going to. They basically made him. They've made him a martyr.
Yeah.
And I even think that the more they continue the court case, it's going to worsen the MPP's position in Assin. And mind you, there are 3 Assin constituencies, 2 of which are held by the MPP. Assin Central and Assin South. So they are threatening to convert a swing seat into an established NDC seat by this thing they are doing with Jachikwesin.
So if NPP is going to sponsor another candidate, you look for a candidate who is going to have their votes and even add 5,000 extra.
They will just keep Charles Opoku. I don't think they have anybody, because from the analysis, Charles Opoku was the best person they could find.
But this last person had 14,000. That's bigger than...
That's 2016.
2016. Okay, so a lot of things would have changed over
this 2016.
Year. Okay, we need to wrap up, but the emotional the victory for the NDC, beyond the fact that it has retained the psychological victory for it, is a big one, isn't it? They think that it is a victory that shows that this is a change for 2024. That was a point they kept making, that if they win now, in fact, you listen to John Mahama, the former president, he said, you people of Assin North, God has given you an opportunity to teach this government a lesson. And we have always insisted that a swing seat like this one is a very good one for gauging a national move.
Yeah, they have the momentum. Obviously, they have... Look, we all said Kumewu was not the right bellwether. This was it. So this tells you that the NDC will do at least, if for nothing at all, they won't do worse than they did in 2020.
Yeah.
They can only do better. MPP is in trouble because their numbers reduced, and everybody went there to campaign, including the president. And this is not an NDC stronghold, right? So the MPP is in trouble. NDC has the momentum.
And Musa, we need to go. So what's your concluding comments on that?
I think NDC is on the rise, and that has been shown in our polls several months over the last year. And I can see worse situation for MPP in many of the swing constituencies. And we've been saying that maybe from now on they will take our work very seriously, because we are pointing areas where they could be in real trouble, and that seems to be manifesting from Assin North.
Well, if you've been under a rock, a by-election was conducted in Assin North, and if you just want to know what the votes are looking like, we're just going to project them on the screen for you again. James Jachikwesin, the man who was sponsored by the NDC in this election, who was the MP until a few weeks ago, even a few months ago, has won. And they are looking at the votes there. He polled 17,245 of the votes, which is 57% of the total votes cast. The NPP's Charles Opoku, who is new. In fact, they called him an alien in the constituency. Today, the NDC folks were mocking him on social media that he could not cast a ballot in a constituency that a ballot is being cast for him. He polled 12,630 votes. Bernice Enyonam Sepeno, who escorted the candidates on the ballot paper, coming with 87 votes. So that is the official results as declared by the Electoral Commission tonight in Assin North. The NPP, the New Patriotic Party, was not present at that particular declaration. The NDC was there, supporters were there, and they were jubilant and they were celebrating. James Jachikwesin maintains the NDC's votes of 17,000 from 2020. The new guy on the block for the NPP reduces the votes from 14,000 to 12,000. But as a newcomer, he still has done well, except that James Jachikwesin has become the candidate for the NDC. The mistake, or they did not make a mistake by changing him. But there are bigger issues coming up. In the courts in Accra, we'll be hearing what's going to happen with the criminal side of things. Is the Attorney General going to proceed? The Attorney General who was telling the court to continue sitting daily ahead of the election, is he going to continue with the case? Is there going to be a null prosecution? What's going to happen? Here on Citi TV, we're going to bring you every bit of information as and when we get it. My name is Umaru Sandamado. I did this with Musa Dankwa of the Global Info Analytics and Bernard Kokwavle of Citi TV and Citi FM. Have a good night.